They are perhaps some of the most striking ghosts from Fatal Frame 3. The Handmaidens, who pin you down right at the start of the game, and then hammer nails into your hands. They certainly have an unforgettable introduction, but who exactly are they, and what role do they play in the game? Let's take a look. Although they're known as the Handmaidens in English, in Japanese their name has a double meaning. It can mean either something like pacifiers or appeasers, or someone who suppresses, someone who keeps something pinned down. This is, of course, incredibly fitting for their role in the game, because that is exactly what they do. The Handmaidens were generally young girls under the age of 10 who lived and worked in the Kuze shrine. These girls either came directly from the Kuze family, such as Amane, granddaughter of the family head at the time, or they were adopted from nearby villages that were under the influence of the Kuze family. Naturally, these girls didn't stay handmaidens forever. They served a term of duty until the tattooed priestess successfully carried out her own duties, and then they were released. They were free to leave the shrine and return to a normal life if they so chose, and most did exactly that. Nor were they silenced about what they had seen and done at the Kuze shrine either. It was thought this was perhaps because their young age made it unnecessary, but also because, as they grew up, they would in turn continue finding people who needed the help of the tattooed priestess, and take them back to the shrine as new worshippers, essentially doing missionary work because of their knowledge of how the shrine worked. But what exactly was it that the handmaidens did while at the shrine? Well, as their Japanese name suggests, they played a key role in soothing the tattooed priestess of her pain. One of their most important duties was singing the handmaiden song, which they would sing to help ease the priestess's pain. This was carried out during the piercing of the soul and the impalement rituals, and also during the tearing ritual if a priestess was unable to sleep or her ritual failed. At some point, the lyrics to this song slightly changed and it came to be passed down in the nearby villages as a lullaby. Over the years, the true meaning behind the song was mostly lost, and several different versions came to exist. Those affected by the tattooed curse would then hear this song in their dreams. During the impalement ritual, the handmaidens wouldn't just sing the lullaby, however. They also had another crucial job, and that was the actual impaling of the ritual's name. Each handmaiden carried a hammer and stake, and they would impale each of the tattooed priestess's hands and feet in the Chamber of Thorns. They would then impale dolls dyed with soul ink that were brought to the shrine by worshippers. These were enshrined in the 4 doll altars found throughout the shrine, each controlled by a different handmaiden. These altars were each located at a compass point over the Shrine of Sleep, and they were supposed to contain the rift if it ever escaped. Of course, we all know how well that worked out. The final 4 handmaidens, the ones we come across in the game, were Amane, Hisame, Shigure, and Minamo. As I mentioned earlier, Amane was the granddaughter of the then Kuze family head, while the other 3 came to serve from nearby villages. Hisame from the North Doll Altar was the final handmaiden chosen, yet also said to be the most dutiful. She is distinguished by her long hair, and was also the last handmaiden to die after the unleashing finally claimed the entire Kuze shrine. Yashu, the family head, trusted her so much that she left it up to Hisame to kill Amane, her own granddaughter, for allowing Kaname in and causing the ritual to fail. She then ordered Hisame to kill the other 2 handmaidens as well, in a final desperate attempt to stop the spread of the rift, which she dutifully carried out in the enclosed room. It's unknown how exactly Hisame herself died, but it's assumed she was simply claimed by the rift as it continued to spread. Then there is Shigure from the West Doll Altar. Distinguished by her short hair and bangs, she was good friends with Amane and tried to convince her friend not to let Kaname in when she discovered what was going on. Sadly, Amane didn't listen to her, and they all paid the price for it. Shigure watched over the shrine carpenters as they tried to contain the rift, but when that also failed, she was killed when Yashu ordered Hisame to impale both her and Minamo in the ritual known as the Final Impalement. This was a last-ditch effort to stop the rift from spreading. Minamo, from the East Doll altar, is distinguished by her short hair and lack of bangs. She was a curious handmaiden who often wondered what it would be like to be impaled, whether it would hurt, and whether the stake would go straight through or need to be hammered in bit by bit. She was perhaps not quite of her right mind, and in her diary mentioned looking forward to impaling the tattooed priestess sometime soon. Minamo was upset with Amane's betrayal and felt her to be a traitor because of what she did. She was the second to die after Amane. After Day enters the Manor of Sleep, Minamo believes her to be the next priestess and tries to impale her as well. She can occasionally be heard asking, "Are you hurt?" in a jovial tone during battles. Then Amane herself, the girl who brought her half-brother Kaname to see Deika, the tattooed priestess, as she lay in her eternal slumber, causing her to wake and the ritual to fail. She wears pigtails and serves in the South Doll altar. She was a kind girl who genuinely cared about Deika, and bringing Kaname to her was, in her mind, doing something to help soothe her pain. She did not wish to see her in pain any longer. She's not a hostile ghost and often helps Miku when she's in the Manor of Sleep, perhaps because she recognizes a kindred spirit also looking for her brother. But of course, she still broke the shrine's rules, and this infuriated her grandmother, who ordered her impaled in the abyss in an effort to stop the rift from spreading. She was the first handmaiden to die, but her sacrifice did little to stop the rift's spread, and so the others soon followed. By the time Fatal Frame 3 starts, all 4 handmaidens now haunt the Manor of Sleep, although they all have their own motivations and differing levels of dangerousness to the player. Some are vindictive, some want to help, and others simply got caught up in something beyond their control and could see no way out, no matter what. And that is the story behind the handmaidens you can find in Fatal Frame 3. What did you guys think about this one? Are there any other lore videos you'd like to see? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you again next time.